Misato Kurihara is an 18-year-old Japanese girl who was an ambitious overachiever with perfect grades and good looks. One day though, Truck-kun was about to hit a little girl who ran into the street, so she pushes her out the way and she wakes up in another world, with the deity of that world granting one wish. For her future planet, Misato desired to be average at all her abilities. She was reincarnated as Adele von Ascham, with Mile as a cover name, being a daughter in a noble family, going from the countryside to the royal capital at the age of 12, checking into a nearby inn and demonstrating her water magic, and possessing a high level of magical ability, meeting a young girl named Lenny, who was the face of the inn. Lenny praised her magic and recognized her as a hunter, attempting to make a profit off her. Mile goes on an adventure across the city, tricking folks and getting lost. Noticing that there are no children here, Mile trips, being caught by Adele von Ascham, who mistakes her for a child, with Mile being very mad, but this being because she is a child now. Mile doesn't know if the knight is a boy or a girl, but finds Mavis cute. Mavis leaves Mile, confirming that she is a woman. While deep in thought, she's mad that Mavis assumed that she was a child. Almost walking to the slums thinking about this, Renee stops her, telling her small children shouldn't be walking into the alleyway by themselves. Mile thanks her, with Renee saying she doesn't care what happens to a random kid, but thinking it might bother her later on. Hearing this, Mile identifies her as a tsundere. At the market, Mile bumps into Pauline, with her having a large chest, with the girl feeling down from the difference in chest size. But finding Pauline lovely, Mile gives a smug look, with her not trying orc meat yet, asking the shopkeeper for one, with the man mistaking her as a child, but then sees a small girl picking up the heavy meat and putting it into her magical pouch, this being her storage magic. Noticing her potential, the man urges the girl to go home quickly, this surprising her. Lenny tells her that children around their age have been getting lost and going missing. Mile talks to herself, saying this explains why the town felt so weird, with a magical fox machine named Nano appearing, being an invisible robot. Mile has a habit of forgetting Nano is invisible, so she looks like a weirdo in public when she yells at him. Mile explains that all she wants to be is normal, average in every way. Mile goes back into the inn to see the chef and the maid arguing over where Lenny is. Mile goes out that night to find her. Nano points out that all she wants to be is normal, but finds herself in these predicaments all the time. The two investigate the slums, with thugs and women of the night waiting for them. Bandits want to sell off Mile, and just then Mavis orders them to stop, with the two sides fighting in a duel, with Mile saying the scene looks like a manga. But Mavis is being surrounded, and instead of helping her, Mile is too busy commentating and being a bystander. Eventually she steps in, putting the two men asleep. Mavis and Mile work together to save the children, and the two of them go to a warehouse and are about to fight the side villains, but suddenly a fireball knocks them out, coming from Renee. Being a magical caster, with her holding back heavily, the three of them decide to make a party. Mavis goes up to the door, able to hear the children on the other side. Renee tries to open it, but needs to recite a spell, with Mile simply touching the door. Opening it, Renee, seeing that Pauline isn't the child, asked her how did she get involved, with her replying with she was trying to save the children from the bandits, and ended up offering herself, confusing the two men. Pauline heals the knight, who was injured in her last battle with the two men. Mile asks Pauline, does she know a kid named Lenny, with her replying with no. She starts to assume the worst, running out of the room. Arletti and her henchmen arrive to see what the commotion is all about. Mile asks where Lenny is, with Arletti bursting her bubble, saying there's no child named Lenny here. Renee uses a fireball, with the old magic caster beating it by saying bigger fireball, literally. Pauline heals the girl. Mavis fights their swordsman, with the man toying with the girl. Arletti hired B-ranked adventurers to join her, being much stronger than the children. The reason she's done this is to acquire a harem full of beautiful girls, promising to only admire them, with the other hunters blushing, with Arletti setting her eyes for Mile, being because of her modest chest, then ranting more about it. Arletti wanting to be a mother, talking about her chest in such a way angers Mile. Beyond the point of no return, Nano explains that Mile is 6,800 times stronger than the spellcasters in this world, with the deity taking the average of the strongest and the weakest creatures, with her really being half the level of the Elder Dragon, using a final flash attack that incapacitated the adults. and half the building, putting it on fire, leaving the other girls speechless. Mealy, feeling ashamed, runs away, crying, embarrassed she let her emotions get the best of her, just because someone called her flat. It turns out, Lenny was just late for work. At the campus, the 4 girls happened to be roommates. With her not knowing how to explain her abilities, the girls asked Mealy her rank, with not believing her when she says she's an F rank. The bell rings, with the girls needing to go to orientation. The students have to spar to see where exactly they place amongst each other. Mavis defeats her opponent in swordplay, being exceptional for her age. Mealy is up next, but the girl wanting to lose her match. When it's her turn, her opponent's very rude, talking about how he would rather fight Pauline, being because she has a bigger chest, disrespecting her and Mealy, saying she has a flat chest like a cutting board, with the girl on the brink of tears. The girl storms him, defeating him in one blow, and trying to downplay her achievement afterwards. Renee produces the most extraordinary flame magic when it's her turn. Mealy sees this and aims to be about half the magic output, impressing Renee, but shocking she was able to do it using her one-of-a-kind spell. With Mealy using it for the first time, Mealy gets away from the rest of her class, making anime figures, being her hobby in this new world, and also singing a goofy song, and unconsciously starting a conversation with Pauline, with her being embarrassed when she turns around, with her freaking out, as she can't explain exactly how she knows all this stuff, but simply calling it a family tradition, with Pauline not believing her. Pauline and the other girls interrogate her, so she agrees to tell them what happened to her, but it turns out it was a big fat lie, with Renee calling her out on this, with her telling a story of a famous bestseller that everyone already knows about. Pauline decides to stop the questioning, finding it okay not to tell strangers her secret, but with her also wanting to sell her figures off to her family business. In class, the girls have to form a party and complete a quest, needing horned rabbits. Mealy uses her locator magic to find them, and the 3 girls try to capture them, with the rabbits laughing at them, as they had no chance. Mealy offers to train them, since there would be no point of her doing it all by herself, with her making parodies of shonen animes to do the training arcs. And when it gets late, Mealy sets up for camp, using her storage magic that had all the supplies in them. Shocking the girls, Pauline looked at her as a valuable tool, while the other girls want to keep it a secret. Mavis thanks her for training her today, and asks if she could fix her sword. Mealy offers to fix it by putting it in the ground, looking for titanium, steel, and other materials inside the ground, combining them with the sword, with it now being the 5th strongest sword in the world, never chipping or breaking. The girls are able to catch the 10 rabbits the next day, but now as a group. Suddenly, a rock golem appears, being stronger than a C-rank adventurer. The girls want to run away, but Mealy is invested in finding out what exactly is inside the creature, whether it's an engine or something else, wanting to study it. With 2 more rock golems surrounding them, Mavis, Pauline, and Renee work together to defeat it, first using water and ice attacks to weaken it, and then Mavis goes to finish it off, just to see Mealy defeating 2 of them by herself. Examining the 2, their group becomes the only party successfully able to finish the mission, with an added bonus of defeating the rock golems. Mealy is worried that she's standing out, but likes that she's not alone this time, having made friends. Arletti bails out the 4 adventurers, with the goal being to acquire Mealy. That night, the girls can't sleep, so they decide to talk to each other. Mealy brings up romance, with the other girls deciding that would be okay, but the girls not having any romance experience. So Mealy tells a story, mentioning TV, telling 10 stories that night, then telling more until the sun rises, but the girls making weird poses and becoming otakus without even knowing it. 6 months go by, and Mealy is in the middle of carving out an anime figure, with a group of adventurers coming up to her, wanting her to join their party after graduation, with the girl turning them down, saying her roommates were going to be forming a party after graduation. Mealy really doesn't know what she's going to do after graduation, but assuming she'll be living alone, so she won't cause trouble to anyone, making her surprised to find out that Renee expects them all to be joining a party, wanting to know where exactly they want their base to be. Renee asks the girls about their situation, with only Mealy having an issue. Seeing that she's going to be causing trouble, she wants to leave, but Renee forces her to shake her hand, accepting her into the party, bringing tears to everyone's eyes. The principal bows and asks the 4 of them to save their school, wanting them to represent the school in a mock battle, this being against B-rank adventurers, and saying they have to win. Shocking the girls, the principal explains that he's never really had extraordinary mages, with some saying his school's a waste of time, with the noble from the other day imposing their weight on the school, with them having to agree to the terms. Mealy is worried, not wanting to participate, but the other 3 girls don't hesitate to accept it. School's graduation is held in a large coliseum, and in the hallway, Miele runs into Arletti, with Miele shocked to see her again. The other girls told her that the military police took care of her, and the woman explains that no matter what crime she commits, she can simply wave off the police, with her actually being shocked that her underlings were being put in the slammer, with her being the noble that actually shut down the school, wanting to get revenge on her for ruining her harem. Arletti makes a deal with her. If Miele and the other girls aren't able to win the competition and straight wins, Miele will come with her, and Miele agrees to it, worried that her friends may not be strong enough to fighting the same villains from before, Miele wanting them to play safe and play with a strategy rather than be reckless, blurting out that the noble is thinking about changing their mind, not wanting to tell them the full truth, but the girls don't listen. Nano tells her not to worry though, the girls are much stronger than a B-rank adventurer. Mavis fights first, easily defeating her opponent, with the new swordplay that she learned from Melee. Next is the enemy female mage, who starts bad-mouthing the rest of Pauline's party, making Pauline run at her, only to be blasted by a fireball, but the girl heals herself to full, telling her no matter what attack she throws at her, she can heal herself back to full, with her only wanting to smack her upside the head with a staff, with this scaring the woman. Ultimately she surrenders. Renee is next, asking her opponent if he has a family, assuming he turned to a life of crime to support them, with the old man misunderstanding what she means by this, with him not holding back on his flames. The referee pleads with him to stop, but Renee uses her ice magic to dispel the flame, to then use the same spell on the old man, with the referee not caring to stop the match. With her winning, Mile's opponent runs away, and Arletti jumps in to fight for him. Being a former A-rank adventurer, saying more weird stuff, Miele overwhelms her, doing this with little to no expression. Arletti is pushed to her limit, wanting to use her special technique, but worries she's going to injure the girl, asking her to surrender, but also mentioning her modest chest in the process. The girl drops her sword, with the other girls simply walking away, knowing what's about to happen. Miele attacks her with a final flash attack. Having put too much energy into the attack, she flips it up with a finger, making fireworks. Arletti is scared, and turns herself in, willing to admit to all her crimes. More experienced party leaders come to offer the girls a roster spot, but they all refuse them, wanting to stay together, but also taking it overboard, with doing action poses from animes, freaking out the adults. Pauline sells Miele's figures, with the girls being mortified in action figures. After seeing them enough times, she was actually able to mass produce them, without telling her, raising money for the Crimson Vow, being the name of their party, with the girls being celebrities now. And that's where we're gonna leave off in this video. As always, if you like what you saw here, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be uploading more daily videos just like this one. And this video will be broken down to multiple parts. So I'll see you next time.